Hello and welcome to the Devil's Bit podcast dedicated to everything Man United, now, then and forever. Today is our third episode and week 3 for us. So you're here with your hosts, Rudy, Glenn and Ray, and joining us for the first time is our first guest, Gary. And Gary's from the Manchester United Supporters Era Group on Facebook, and that's where you'll find him on Facebook. Gary, how are you doing?
Not too bad, Rory, Glenn, Ray. What's the crack, lads? How are you keeping?
All right, man. How are you?
Good, man.
Not too bad, Gary.
Great to have you on,
thanks,
man. And our first guest, like, some achievement for us.
Yeah, absolutely privileged, lads. Absolutely privileged. And I'm a bit disappointed I'm the only one with a top on me.
We're flying the colours. We're flying the colours.
But you're all right, Rory. You're all right. You have something, man.
Everyone's
Like
still in
Glenn's
the
in
white.
red, in fairness. And I think Ray is just too busy being beautiful with his new light.
He has the socks on. Right, but so this week we're casting our eye on everything that happened in the club during the week, and then we're looking towards the home game this Sunday afternoon against West Brom. And we're going to touch on some dodgy subjects, but you know what we like to do around here? We don't beat around the bush. We don't dilly-dally. So this week we're discussing David De Gea situation, and then we're looking at that title race. Is the challenge over? Where do we at? Come on, like, you know, it's getting ridiculous. But we're going to discuss all that now in this episode. So during the podcast, as you know, we like to share comments from our followers on social media, and you can find us on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Devil's Bit. So get involved there, share your thoughts, and show your passion for the Reds. So without further ado, we're going to jump straight in because there's a lot of content to talk about this week. So like I said, we're going to kick off with that discussion about David De Gea. So is it time to leave him out? Like, where is he fitting into the team? Is it good for Man United to have him there? Or should Ollie stick with him? Because, you know, he's dug us out of a few holes in the past, but is Ollie holding on to him just for loyalty now, or what's the crack? So, Glenn, I might jump in with you first just to get your idea, just to kick it off, get the ball rolling. What do you reckon?
I think De Gea has been a super goalkeeper for United over the years. I think he's won 3 or 4 Player of the Year awards, which is unbelievable for a goalkeeper. It shows you how important he's been. But I think over the last 2.5 seasons, I think he hasn't been at his best. I go as far as back to say 2018, the World Cup. I don't think I think something might have happened there. I don't think he's recovered from that. If you talk to a lot of United fans, they will turn around and tell you, you know, we stick by De Gea because he's doubles out of a lot of holes, as you said, Rory. And I agree with that. But I'm starting to think to myself and say, is it starting to balance itself out now with the errors that he's made over the last 2 seasons? If you go back to the game against Everton, not even talking about the third goal, if you go to the fourth goal, you look at Calvert-Lewin getting between Wan-Bissaka and Lindelof. You know, he's not on an angle that he can score on. He's on his left side. It's not his strongest side. He goes and he stabs it with his right foot towards De Gea. Now, maybe De Gea got a little bit of, wasn't expecting it. But, you know, any goalkeeper is taught, like, do not play the ball, carry the ball back out into central areas. I think he should have carried it back out towards the play, towards Calvert-Lewin, giving us a chance to, you know, reset or react to it. He didn't. We can see the goal from it. Then you move on to the third goal against Everton. You know, you can question the defence. We were all over the place trying to play offside. But as soon as that ball drops to Calvert-Lewin, you'd be expecting your goalkeeper to come out and just take everything. If he takes everything and he takes man on ball, so be it. It's a penalty. We have to accept that. But I don't think, you know, your keeper can come out and flinch and turn away from it and concede in that manner. And if you go back to the Leipzig game, in the Champions League, it was the exact same thing. Maybe Maguire shouldn't be letting 19 go in behind him if he's not sure of what's there. But again, De Gea comes out and he doesn't get there. He flinches and turns away. And I just think, like, it's time maybe for Ollie to just, you know, take him out of the forward line for a while. Let him know, like, listen, if you want to get back to the status of being the best goalkeeper of the world, or if you even consider that, you have to get down, knuckle down, and work hard. That's what I think about it at the moment. And plus, you add into the fact with Dean Henderson there, he's been playing a couple of the cup games, but if De Gea's not up for it, we need to know if Henderson's up for it. The only way we'll know that is he gets a couple of minutes, because the last thing we want to do without getting too far ahead and looking to next season is to go into next season and have a number 1 goalkeeper that's not up for it, and maybe a number 2 goalkeeper that's not up for it. So I think it's probably best for De Gea and Ollie to just take him out for the while.
Yeah, that's good stuff. And looking back at that Everton game, you're right there. What happened, like, you know, but it's not the first time he's getting backlash for some of the decisions he made or some of the saves he didn't make. So Gary, you know, we'd love to get your opinion on this. How are you feeling about him?
Even though I'm 5'10", I used to actually play in goals when I was younger. So I have a big thing about keepers. Schmeichel was my hero on that as well. And I really, really, after his first season, I was surprised with myself because I was calling for De Gea to be gone. I think a lot of people were. We didn't think he was up for it. We didn't think he had the physicality for the Premier League. He was, you know, he was a whippet in comparison to what he is now. But look, he went and he proved us wrong, like with amazing performances. What was it, 4 seasons in a row, player of the season? 4 seasons, 3 seasons, player of the season. You know, you don't get that for nothing, you know, when you think of who's gone before him winning player of the season at United. But I think Ronaldo broke him with the free kick in 2018 at the World Cup. It just seemed that it was like a series of events like that where things just seemed to be going against him. And he is stuck for confidence. But the more and more I watch De Gea play now, I think he really, really needs to add a lot more to his game. And that's very, very hard for a player his age to do, because he's very rooted to his line. You know, he's not good for corners. He's not good for free kicks. You know, it's like he's afraid. It is like he's afraid. Even when he comes out to punch a ball, he doesn't look confident enough to do it. You know, the most confident he seems to be is with his feet, you know, because he's always sticking them out. And they're the ones that make you go, oh, yeah, geez, he is class. But then there can be a series of errors before the next one that makes you stand up and go, oh, my God, I can't believe he just saved that. You know, so and these incidences are getting more frequent for me. And I'm not one for calling for players to be gone or managers to be gone. But I think in his best interests and the club's best interests would be possibly to part ways. I think it'd be good for him, a change of scenery. We all know his missus isn't completely keen on being in Manchester as well. You know, so there's a lot of things that are going against him at this moment in time. But what is going for him is the times he's put out so many fires for us. When you think of it, you think of some of the games he played, you think of some of the saves he's pulled off. You think like that double save against Sanchez at Arsenal, like some of them do be incredible, but it's too costly for us. People are saying, oh yeah, but it has to get through the defense first. Yeah, but he's still the very last line of defense. Just because the player got through with the ball past Maguire and Lindelof doesn't mean De Gea shouldn't do his job. He still has to do his job, and he's costing us points. Even think of the kick out against Everton last season, where it was blocked off. It's just, I don't know. I think a change of scenery would be good for him. And I think a change would be good for us as well, because it's not the same squad that's in front of him as it when he was first at United. And that's a big, big difference. He was playing off the confidence of a big squad, best manager of all time, some of the best players in the world in front of him. And it faded out over a few years, and we've been finishing in 5th and 6th. And, you know, he doesn't have a world-class squad to bail him out now, and his errors seem more costly because of it.
So you're thinking then we might see the transfer in the summer. Do you reckon Ollie will take that risk, that decision?
But you don't know unless you do it. Like, because what are you going to do? You're going to end up playing 2 goalkeepers against each other, because you're either going to show Henderson more minutes now, you know, and give it to De Gea. So whose nose is going to be put out of joint at the start of next season? So it could be better just to cut her tight. Henderson, yes, is inexperienced at Premier League level, but he's not going to get experience at Premier League level if he doesn't get Premier League minutes. Yeah. And De Gea is costing us points with his mistakes, because some of them are huge game-changing mistakes. So I think it's best for him, but it'd be good for him as well if he gets a move back to Spain. Even if you hear talks of PSG, it just to change the scenery for him, and he could go on to thrive being a goalkeeper again. But currently at the moment, yes, pulls off a couple of Hollywood saves, but I'd be one to move him on now. He's been a great servant, a hero at times, but I think it's getting to that point.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we hear you on that one. And I'm just going to pull up some stats there on David De Gea. So the biggest one for me is that we've conceded so many goals. So he's conceded 27 goals this season out of 30. He's won 13. He's played when we've won 11 games out of the 13 that we've won. He's made 42 saves. He's 8 clean sheets, and he's played a total of 21 games. So, Glenn, just the final word on De Gea then before we move on to other players in the team. But is 27 a lot of goals to be conceding for the top flight team, top 6 team?
It's a lot of goals if you want to be challenging for the title. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it has to stop. And I agree with everything that with what Barry said there. You know, he was a great goalkeeper, but for some reason, you know, maybe it is that Ronaldo did break him at that World Cup, but he hasn't come back the same player. You know, Gary touched on it there about the mistake he made at Everton when he went to kick the ball out and they blocked it and it went in. You know, you look at the Watford game last year away to Watford, you know, he caught the ball and dropped it into the net. You know, you look at even Sheffield United this season at Old Trafford, and I know Ray said that on the podcast before that, you know, he does get a little nudge, but it's not enough to make you miss the ball or not go and collect it or punch it. So, yeah, 27 goals, a lot of goals we can see if you want to be challenging for the title. And it really isn't good enough. And I don't want to make it into a thing where we're bashing De Gea, but I would just like to see Ollie be brave enough to say, okay, I've tried to, keep the confidence high by not taking them straight out of the sides, which we've seen managers do to the players in previous regimes where they've just taken the players straight out of the team. Maybe the players haven't fully recovered from that, or it damaged their confidence even more. Ollie went a different way, and it doesn't seem to be working. So I think I'd like to see him just take him out of the firing line for a way and see what way he reacts to that. You know what I mean? If he starts working hard and forces his way back into the team, well, then we know he's up to the challenge. You know what I mean? And he wants to bring himself up to the standard. If he doesn't react, then, you'd have to turn around and say, right, well, let's see what we can get from him. But at the same time, he's on 350 grand a week. So how are we going to get someone to take him off our hands if it's not PSG? And how is he going to want to go and going to leave that money? See, that's the hole or the corner that United seem to have backed themselves into over the last couple of years with players like.
Yeah, great points there. Ray, do you want to add a line in there?
Oh, I think the lads nailed it there, to be honest. Yeah, I think so. It's a great opportunity now to see how it plays out. We've a lot of games, and the 2 games in the Europa League and the game against West Ham that just went by, to get to see how it plays out. I'm just interested to see how it plays out. Like Henderson, I just seen, I liked a few bits from that game where we tend to overplay at the back sometimes, but Henderson actually puts his foot through the ball quite a lot. And I like that, to see the ball go up the other end and relieve us of that pressure straight away, rather than keep you on the edge with the hair sometimes when we do overplay sometimes, or he tries that harder pass that you wouldn't expect the keeper to even try. So, yeah, I'm just curious to see how it plays out, Rory, to be honest, and see if Henderson actually has a chance to maybe overtake De Gea in goal. But at the moment, like the lads were saying, he's on some amount of money.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anything's going to be decided on De Gea very soon. I think it's going to take some time before we actually, change completely. Like, I know there's 2 of us, 3 of us here agreeing that De Gea should, but there's a lot of other people that would say that, De Gea is still the number 1 keeper, and he has a great save in him all the time. I think under Jose, he was brilliant, wasn't he? He was good under Jose and a bit iffy under Ollie. So just give him some time and see. I'm a big De Gea fan, so, I just want to see how it plays out. But the lads nailed it.
Yeah. It's a hard one. It is a hard one because, like Gary and Glenn said, he's done a lot for us, But so that's one player down. But let's move on to the next one. So, Gary, I'll probably come to you on this first now. So we're looking at Donny van der Beek, and I think his reaction on Tuesday night said it all against West Ham when he was, told he was going to be substituted. So what's your opinion on that Van der Beek situation at the moment?
Very, very hard to form an opinion on it, I think, at the moment, because there's so many mixed messages from every aspect in relation to even Van der Sar coming out and speaking there 2 weeks ago, to his agent speaking very, very early into his Man United career. Look, I'm not I don't like casting judgment on players instantly. Again, kind of like I referred to De Gea, I did want De Gea after the first season. But Donny he hasn't had the time to prove himself yet. Not saying that he won't get it. We'll never know what the understanding is or what was said to him to get him to join the club. But I look back to the likes of, and some people will probably use this as a bad example, but I actually think it's quite a good example of players needing to adapt. We would always go back to the Varane conversation. But if you consider most recently Fred, signed by Mourinho, barely seen any minutes really in his first season when you consider it. And, flattered to see when he was on the field. And a lot wanted him out, but he stuck at it. He worked hard. He even spoke about the process himself of taking it on board what the likes of Michael Carrick and all that were saying to him now. And it just helped build his confidence and his physicality. And I think we're actually starting to see the fruits of Fred's labour because he's been given that time to adapt. It doesn't stop the furore around him in the media. All they have to do is break wind and it's in the media within seconds, and some of it true, some of it not, but we'll never know. But we look at Fred now, I think he's possibly one of our best players for breaking up the play in midfield. Yes, the first touch is gone, a bit mad, and his passing can be a bit scary at times, but one thing he does do is break up the play and look to get forward. I'd like to see that be the eventuality with Donny, but we all know what a quality player Donny is. We all seen it. We've seen it in that incredible Ajax run to the semi-final of the Champions League. There were so many players within that squad we were talking about, and they're all special within their own sort of way. And Donny is, and I think that his movement is very, very clever. But watching it in the game gone by, it's like his movement is completely different to what everybody else on the team was doing. The other 9 outfield players were moving in one pattern, and it was like Donny seeing something that was completely different than what everybody else was used to. And I was going off to explore it, but nobody seemed to pay attention because they were focused on what they were doing. It's like he's ahead of the game in a way because he's an Ajax player. It's the way they're coached. They're so intelligent in football in terms that maybe he is a little bit too clever, and we're as a squad, we're not just there yet on confidence levels. We're still gelling. I think we're still gelling. I think we're still struggling for confidence, and amazingly, we're in second place. But I think if we were a more confident machine ourselves, I think Donny would suit the squad a lot better then. But at the moment, until we kind of hit some form of consistency and show signs of being a well-oiled machine, I don't think Donny will fit in just yet. I thought he was there to replace Pogba. I don't even know what's happening with Pogba now. So I'd say that itself, that issue itself, the Pogba issue probably threw a spanner in the works with whatever plans there was in place for Donny, because there was no Pogba for ages. He was injured. He was out. We're like, right, is this going to be Donny? But no, we've seen a lot more Fred and McTominay, and now Pogba was back playing. Still no Donny. Is Pogba going to go? We don't know. So everything that happens with Donny, I think, is dependent on a couple of decisions made around midfield coming up towards the summer.
Yeah, I hear you there, and I'm glad you said that because Donny, in my opinion, is some player, and his touch, that first touch pass, can be unbelievable at times, and it really sets people off. And I've seen him get setting up for a goal, in so many games. But the lads were saying in the group during the week, maybe there's a bit of trust issues going on there with the team and the other players, and maybe it's like you said there, he's ahead of them. They're not on the same wavelength. So, Ben, I'm going to ask you to jump in on that one. What are you thinking about Donny van de Beek?
Is you found me already? Yeah.
Yeah, Glenn. Yeah.
I just sorry about that. Yeah, no, I see a player that's just drained of all confidence. Someone that doesn't want to take risks or doesn't want to take chances because he seems to be afraid. He's playing within himself. I think the pictures of the game against West Ham when he's seeing McTominay and Fernandes standing on the line ready to come on, it sort of reminded me of a schoolboy player that's on the pitch, that's training every week, just wants a chance to play. And when he comes on, he looks over and he sees the players that he probably thinks are better than him, and he knows I'm coming off. But sort of hoping, just holding that little bit of hope that his name or number doesn't get called to come off. And you could see it when his number came up to get taken off. You could see he just went into himself and was like, "Oh, I've had a bad game." That's what I got from it. He didn't necessarily have a bad game. So I think, he's 23 and he's moved from Ajax to United. And I think this is probably the fourth time in his career that he's actually gone through a bad patch or a rough patch. So he hasn't got the tools yet to deal with that. So that's where you'd be expecting the likes of Ollie and Michael Carrick and Mick Phelan to come in and help him out with that. And I'm not saying they're not, but I just think there's a player there that probably has low self-esteem levels, because you look at what Van der Sar wrote to fans and all, he was saying, like, listen, look after our Van der Beek, which that sort of tells you, you know what I mean? Maybe he just needs that arm around him all the time, and you know what I mean? He just needs that pressure needs to be taken off, whether it's put on him by the club or himself. He just needs to be, no, listen, let's just go out and let's just try and take them shackles off you and do what you think is right when you're on the ball. If you see a pass, if you see a forward pass, play it. Don't be afraid of giving the ball away, because he at the moment, every pass just seems to be going back to the way it came. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Great there. And Ray, you were going to jump in there at one point, so I'll let you have a quick say.
I was just going to ask Gary, do you think he's playing in the right position? Every time I'm seeing Donny now, I've seen him picking up these positions between the two centre forwards, and I honestly would like to see him pick the ball up a little bit deeper. Every time I remember him playing for Ajax, I just remember him picking up the ball a little bit deeper in the midfield and getting on the end of things. We don't see that enough. Every time I see him now playing for United, it's like he's in the wrong position. He's getting in, like we were saying last week, he's getting in the way of 1-2s. The confidence is obviously not there, Glenn saying, spot on, I think. And this stuff about the camera coming onto him and when the faces he does be pulling, I don't like that. Honestly, I'm starting to be a little bit irritated by it. Like, you're not playing well at the moment. You're not really playing well. You're not doing much. Your number comes up, just get off the pitch. And all this Van der Sar coming out, like, you don't really hear that. And, it's just, there's a lot going on with Van der Beek now. And I just wish he'll just buckle down and work hard to try and show everyone that he can play. Because I'm sure there's a lot of people doubting him. So I would have just liked to ask Gary, do you think he's playing in the right position?
Well, I agree with you, Ray, to be honest, because the last game he came in the number 10, and what the team has nearly come to expect, and it's no coincidence that the team has had to bounce when Bruno came in. So when you're replacing Bruno and his movement and the way he works and the way he has drove us forward, you take that out and you're putting somebody else there. Is the team expecting the same movement that they're going to get with Bruno? Because that's what they're finding is working for them. So they're so used to working with Bruno now that when it's the positions Donny's picking up is not what they're used to from Bruno. So I agree with you, Ray. I think we've seen him play a little bit deeper for us as well. And he can do it. He's done it at Ajax as well, because he has a great eye for a pass. His short game is class. And it's no coincidence that Mata and Bruno will say he's one of their favorite people to have on their team when they're at training, because it's quick 1-2 clever passes. But he's got an eye for passing. He's a strong lad, but I'd even go as far as to say I know his confidence, but sometimes he almost looks lethargic when he's playing with us. But then again, I suppose a zap and the confidence will do that for you. But I think I'd prefer him to be a little bit deeper, because
same.
He can do box to box. He can do basically, like we were saying, was he coming in to replace Paul Pogba? Sit a little bit deeper, build the play.
I'd like to see him deeper to get on the ball, and like Glenn was saying, build up his confidence. Yeah, because you need to be on it when you're that close to the goal in them areas. We were talking about this a while ago, Glenn. You need to be on it. You're 1 phase away from the goal there, so if you're not on it, you're not going to get much. And we've seen that with him. He's getting sort of in the way. His touch is not there. Every time he's outside the box, he turns back to where he got the ball. Instead of him maybe picking up the ball a little bit deeper and having that extra second to make up his mind. Because I think he's just not firing at the moment, no confidence. So, yeah, I'd like to see him a bit deeper. But like that, there's McTominay ahead of him now. There's Pogba. in that position. So it's tough for him, to be honest. Honestly, it looks tough for him. But he needs to just buckle down. I don't like this stuff. He's looking at the camera and he's down all the time. Or the other clip we've seen of him where he was on the subs bench and he just looked like no interest at all. That was one of them. I was just like, that's when it started sort of turning from me. I was the opposite side before that. I was thinking he needs to play, he needs to get a chance. But now if I keep seeing this, I'm gonna be like,
but
no.
That's not going to stop, Ray. That's not going to stop because I'm almost sure that they have to have spotters. They're looking for, because you see all the fans going, I'm raging now. Why isn't Ollie up off his seat, giving out to him, blah, blah, blah. I have seen lots of them up off his seat and on the sideline. It's like the camera only picks him up when he's sitting down looking at his iPad. Or it's like, Donny's pulling a face there. Switch to Donny. He looks like he's in bad form. But yeah, he could be smiling for another 70 minutes that you don't see him. Yeah. You don't know. But at the moment, it's very, very hard to question the fact that Donny is been left out because we're currently in the mix. Speaking as a realist, we're in the mix somewhere we haven't really been at this stage of the season in how long. So how do you question this him not playing?
And I think on that point, right, I'm gonna have to move ahead because of time, bro.
Sure.
Is that all right?
Sorry,
I'm just gonna read. I'm just gonna read.
Go on
out
all day with this one.
I know that's the thing. Like that one subject will go on all night. We'll get none of the other stuff done. So just on that, Van de Beek, a few comments here to read out, and then I'll give you the last word on it. So on one of our posts on Facebook, people are saying, and I quote, "This lad should be starting. Great player." Another one, "He'll come good," and another one, "Give the lad time." And then there was a very good post which I found online on a different Facebook page, United Supporters Facebook page. And it says, I think what a lot of us is forgetting is that Donny hasn't played a lot of football in near or a year. What I mean is the Dutch league was null and void in March. So that meant Donny didn't play football until September. He joined a new team with no pre-season, a new league, started and played very little football all in this time. Yes, I haven't been impressed, but taking this all into account, I think he deserves time and will be fine once he's gone properly. So people are saying that he's going to come good. What's your last view on Donny, Gary?
I'm not saying that he's not going to come good. Give him the time. He needs the time to adapt to it. They haven't played a lot of football either because they did finish in March. But I don't buy the whole, he's on the bench frequently, he's rusty, because we've had the likes of Eric Bailly, he's in and out of the team, made of Weetabix. He's literally made of Weetabix, falling apart and going and playing blinders. He's a professional footballer, but give him time, absolutely. Nobody's calling for Donny to go, but at the moment and how we are performing and the position that we are in the league at the moment, it's very, very hard to question why he's been left out, because we have not been in this league position at this stage of the season in I don't know how long. So we can't question the reason he's left out, but I'm not saying get rid of him because he is a quality player. I think he just probably needs to adapt his game to the Premier League a little bit more.
Excellent. And Ray, would you like the last one on that?
Yeah, just for him to adapt the game to our style of play as well. I was saying there, it just feels like he's after bringing the Ajax style of play into the United team, and it's just not working. Scotty was saying we sort of have our own style of play now, and it just looks a little bit like he's not involved in that style of play. But we've games coming up, and it'd be a perfect opportunity with the game coming up against West Brom to hopefully see him in the team again and see him get on the ball a little bit more and let him have that second to feel confident and maybe build our play around him a little bit and see what happens, because definitely he has talent. You don't come out of the Ajax setup, you don't come through for nothing. So he's obviously highly intelligent, he has a great technical side, great ability. So yeah, let's see how it plays out. Hopefully we'll see him play a lot more.
Happy days. So about halfway through the podcast now, lads, and we're going to our trivia question. So here we go. Man United played West Brom in Sir Alex Ferguson's last game as manager for Manchester United. That game finished 5-5. There's 2 Dutch players on the score sheet that night. Can you name them? We'll give you the answer at the end of the podcast. So moving on to the next question then, and Ray, I'll come to you first on this one. So we're into the sixth round of the FA Cup. We're in the last 32 of the Europa, and that tie is coming up against Real Sociedad. And we're second in the Premier League, 5 points off Man City, but they do have a game in hand. So is the title realistic this year? And do we need to win a trophy for this year to be a success? So Ray, what's your thoughts?
Hey, Roddy, I don't think if you look at the start of the season, no one expected us to win any league just yet. I think as the season went on, we were up top of the league for about 2 or 3 weeks, whatever it was, and people start grabbing onto it, hoping. That's all we have at the minute. We just have hope. Now you're looking at City, and they're in their element, they're in their rhythm, they're winning games 4 and 5-0 without a striker. And you look at that team, and I was saying this before, there's not really special about City, but they have what we don't have at the minute, is that game management and that experience. And coming into these games coming up, I think that's exactly what we'll need against even the Europa League, against this Real Sociedad side. I think we'll need that. I think we'll need that game management. And game management to know when to play and when to slow the game down. Going back to the league, we just need to maintain a decent run. No more mistakes like we've been seeing. Maybe try and get Bailly into the team a lot more. I think if we were in that stage against Everton with Bailly in the team, I don't see 1 or 2 of them goals being conceded by us. I think he would have put his body on the line. He would have made sure that last phase of the game was seen out. He would have won that ball himself. So I think against West Brom, I think we need to go and win the game. They're the games that you need to be winning. And we need to hope that City have a dip somewhere, like a major dip, like 1 or 2 players. You don't want to wish anyone getting injured, but that's what you're really hoping for. Something that disturbs their rhythm. So we can get a good run on the other end and put a bit more pressure on them. The last thing you want to see is to keep dropping down the table. That wouldn't be great, because then there'd be a lot of questions asked. But that's where I see it. As far as winning the league, it'd be unbelievable if we push City till the end. It would be unbelievable. But we can only hope.
Yeah, so we have to keep on that tail really in order to be in with a chance at the league now. So Gary, I'll come to you now on that one. Do we need a trophy for this year to be a success?
It's a good question, because success, it depends on how you gauge it. For us to have a top 4 finish 2 seasons consecutively is in my eyes is progress. If we were to finish second, it's definitely progress. Yeah, look, trophies, lads, it's what's counted for you as your measure, as a club, as a team, as a manager, as a player. It's trophies. And it does sicken my arse most years seeing Arsenal picking up the FA Cup and over the last few years. But I don't think trophies are a measure of progress, but they're definitely a measure of a successful season. But I do think we can do it. Or we could have done it last season, lads. Semi-finals galore. I just don't hope we fall flat on our face this time around. I think, with the Europa League, there's some very, very strong teams gone into it. It's always a Mickey Mouse competition until it gets to this part, because when you start to look at the teams that are still in it, you're like, right, okay, we're not going to piss this. We go in as favourites. Sometimes, like last season, we were they're favourites. I don't like going in with that favourites tag at all with us, because it always blows up in our face. Same with our league position. Ray said, start of the season, we didn't expect this. Back in November, Ray, we didn't even expect this. When you think about where were we in November, it's absolutely crazy. Can we win the league? Yes, we can. Mathematically, we can. There's still plenty of games we can. But like Ray said, you need to disturb the rhythm. You need to stop that flow, because every big team this season has had one big period of having poor results or sporadic smaller periods of poor results, and it's affected them. We had it kind of at the start of the season and kind of got ourselves together coming towards Christmas. Liverpool have been on the decline fantastically for the last 2 months. I'm loving it. And and even City at the start of the season, City were down 11 at one point. They were behind us, and none of us thought that they'd put together what they're currently putting together. And I'd go as far as to say, lads, it looks like a juggernaut that's going to be very, very hard stopped, but all you need is one adverse result to land on their lap to possibly spark a couple more after it till they get themselves together again. But at that stage, where's the points going to be? Where are we going to be? Where's Liverpool going to be? Where's Leicester going to be? So trophies, yes, for success, no for progress. And yeah, we can win the Premier League. I'm not saying we will, but we can.
I like that spirit now. Glenn, would you like to chip in anything there?
Yeah, just on what the lads are saying there about the stubborn they're in, and I've been saying this for the last couple of weeks. Stick with them. Stick with City. We don't have any more room for error or drop points. I think City's rhythm will be restored when they start playing Champions League football, because that's what Pep's going to be judged on. But whether he can or can't win the Champions League with City. We've seen it this season. One bad result, and whether it's in the Champions League or whether it's in the league, has an effect all around. So I think if we can just stick with them, you know what I mean, don't drop any more stupid points. I think we do have a chance of winning. But as Ray said, if we when we go to West Brom on Sunday, we just have to go and win. I would like to see us concentrate on the league and the FA Cup. I don't really have any love for the Europa League because I just feel like it's like a marathon, you know what I mean? It's never ending. And this season, especially because they've gone back to the two-legged game. So I think I'd like to see us have success domestically and park the Europa League off. I'd like to see players get minutes, like Van der Beek, like Kieran Davey, like Telles, like Williams. Give them the minutes in the Europa League. See, can they make us progress? And let's see what we can do in the FA Cup and hopefully in the league. Finish, if we can't finish first, finish second, but that would be progress after what we achieved last season.
Deadly, man. Okay, so you mentioned West Brom there and going in to win that game. So West Brom they're 11 points from safety at the moment. They're winners in the last 5 games. 4 of them were a loss and 1 of them was a draw. That's 1 point out of a possible 15. So, Ray, I'll come to you on this one. How do you see the game panning out this Sunday?
I hope that we dominate the ball. I see us dominating the ball. Like, I see us, we struggle with these teams to break them down, no doubt. I just hope we need a goal on the half of the first half mark. That's when we need to break. Once it goes past the halfway mark and gets into them later stages, they're gonna get more confidence and they're gonna even be more up for it as the game goes on. If we can get a goal early enough in the game, I think it'd be enough. I do expect us to dominate the ball, like I was saying. Sam Allardyce will have them well organised again. I just see a lot more like the West Ham game. Where we don't create much, where we get as far as the box, but we run out of things to do. So again, we're relying on a bit of magic from Rashford, from Bruno. So if we can nick a goal early in that first half, I see us winning. I honestly, they haven't scored a lot from what I've seen, so I don't think they're going to bother us too much. But we'll see. We never know.
You never know.
I didn't expect the 3-3 against Everton.
Yeah, we didn't predict that.
That storyline at all.
Yeah, we did say we wouldn't keep a clean sheet, but we didn't say 3.
Yeah, I said 1-0 like that.
Cardi, how would you see West Brom panning out now?
I hope it's better than the last live game I seen at Old Trafford, which was 2018, which was Jose's United taking on an already relegated West Brom, and we were bet 1-0 with a J. Rodriguez goal. I brought the young lad over. I brought my brother's first time in Old Trafford, and my missus is a Liverpool supporter. And my friend bailed, and we had a spare ticket, and it happened to be for the Stretford End. So she sat in the Stretford End as a Liverpool supporter with my brother and watched that. And I could see from my seat over to her, and she up and she giving it large over to me, and I getting texts and everything. So I hope it's better than that one anyway. But look, if you're coming up against a Big Sam team, you know, they're going to be compact. They're going to be very, very hard to break down. But I think that's where Cavani has been key to us this season. And Bruno, you're talking about a player that likes to mix it around in the box, whereas we were so used to having your Rashfords, your Martials that like to start outside the box and work their way in. You know, no real magic within the box. And Cavani gives you that. He's so experienced on his head, his feet, his movement is amazing. And I think him and Bruno are going to be key to picking West Brom apart. Like Ray said, if we can get an early goal, I think even if it's a really, really early goal, I think we could go on a run of goals again. Because I even think that the Southampton game, I know they lost a man early, but looking at the way Southampton were even trying to play, I still think we probably would at least put 4 past them that day. I just don't think there was the fight in Southampton. West Brom, it's getting to that point where everything's going to be a fight or they're gone. You know, Big Sam, he's a great record, 2015, 2016, with Sunderland and Palace, keeping them up. So it's not going to be easy. Knowing us, we'll probably concede within the first 3 minutes, you know, because that's been a thing as well. You know, I like, it scares the life out of me. And it is silly mistakes. But look, they're not amazing, West Brom. They're not. You'd even struggle to probably name some of the players or be familiar as you would have been even in the past with West Brom players. There's not that many of them that you'd be overly familiar with, but it doesn't mean that they're not a threat, and it doesn't mean we're not going to walk ourselves into mistakes like we have done on several occasions this season and in the season gone as well. But we have it there, lads. Even if we were to put out our second team, we should still be going out and beating that West Brom team. That's it. We're Man United. We're Man United. You know, that's it. We should be if we were starting with the backup fullbacks, the backup midfield, and the backup strikers, we should still be beating that current West Brom side.
Yeah, we shouldn't be asking these sort of questions about Man United, to be honest. So, lads, we're kind of wrapping it up now. So I'm going to ask for score predictions on this game. So, Glenn, do you want to give us what you're thinking?
I'm going to say 3-1 United. I can't say I was keeping a clean sheet because, to be honest, I'm worried. No, I'm more worried about West Brom at set pieces, free kicks and corners in and around the box and that, you know what I mean? Because we look shaky in defending, we look panicked. We don't want to be in them situations. And I think any time on a Deutsch team, you know, thrive on that sort of thing. So I think 3-1.
Right.
How does Maguire not win headers in the box? How does he not win a header in the box? How does he not win? How does he not get on the end of corners? and they say he's a great aerial threat.
There's a recurring theme here, Ray. You know, we were talking about the at the beginning of the podcast, and you know, a lot. Like, you know, we look at the Sheffield United, the second goal, like, you know, when they got the winner, the head of Maguire shouldn't be passing that ball to the head in that situation. You know what I mean? You look at the goal against Everton. You know, why is Harry Maguire trying to play everyone offside when he's clearly playing onside and you can see them? So there's sort of a recurring theme there, you know. So
he was exposed by a great striker there. You know, that striker had a run on him. Maguire had a yard or two on him, if I'm not mistaken. And before you know it,
was Maguire not up against the goalkeeper? No, they're not up against the Everton goalkeeper. No, I don't think that was the striker. He'd Olsen running in behind him. Fucking Olsen behind him. Jesus.
You know, so he can be exposed. Like he's definitely been exposed in that.
Yeah. So what's your prediction there? What's your prediction there?
I think Glenn's right. I think they're gonna just play off set pieces, and they're gonna lump everything in the box, and they're gonna play off that sort of stuff. So, can we defend them? I'm gonna go 2-0, lads. I'm gonna be brave and go 2-0 this time. I think we should have enough. I think we should dominate the ball and we should park ourselves in their half for the whole game. Like Gary was saying, I don't recognise a striker of that team that can cause us any trouble. So I'm going to go 2-0.
Okay, 2-0 is, Gary.
I'm going to go with 4-1 to United. Yeah, I do think we'd concede. You'd want to, if you're in a managerial position in the Premier League or any team over a team that's going to be coming up against United, I'd definitely be targeting De Gea and the centre backs, especially when you're coming up against a team that's going to depend on set pieces. It's dodgy for us. It is dodgy because there's questions over our centre back pair and there's question marks over our keeper. So Sam's no fool. He works some magic to keep teams in this league. If you think he's not going to target De Gea, nothing, because he definitely would. We will concede one, I'd say, but I do think we've the ability to get 4 on them.
I have a feeling Hendo's going to play.
Maybe.
And then
right.
there'd be definitely some question marks then about what's happening with De Gea. But it's perfect, like I was saying, it's perfect for Hendo to get a few games in and let De Gea just let Ollie tell him, listen, you're not out with the team. But you need to just realise that these mistakes are costly.
Personally, I think...
Go ahead.
Personally, I think Ollie's he's too loyal to the players sometimes. And maybe he should make that decision. But I think they've said it in the analysis on Sky Sports after that. They don't feel he's experienced enough to make those big decisions. And you just see him keeping a lot of players on the pitch that sometimes maybe shouldn't be starting and should be fighting for that position instead of starting that. So I don't see De Gea being left out now, I have to say.
I think there is a chance of De Gea being left out because it's West Brom and they're rock bottom.
Yeah,
that's like, I know that you say about the decisions that he's not experienced or enough about that, but some of the times it's not even the decisions. Some of the times you actually just have to look at the players that are on the field and that are actually look lethargic, that look like they're actually not interested, and people are saying Rashford needs to be taken out, Martial needs to be taken out. Okay, so our fans going to be happy that he's starting Dan James on the left? No, because they'll be giving out about that. He's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. Yeah. No matter what he does, it's going to be wrong because he could drop De Gea, which loads of fans are calling for, and then Henderson has a mare, and then Ole is the biggest tit in the world because he dropped De Gea. He's damned if he does and damned if he doesn't. It's just...
He seems to be coming across this season as a more rotational manager, and it's a perfect season with the amount of games. With the amount of games coming up, it's perfect. So, like, if he drops a hair, it's not the end of the world. And I wouldn't even call it drop. I'd just say rotation. Let him know that it's not the end of the world if he doesn't play one game, and let him know that he's still number one. Like the same notion he had when Romero was number 2. He wasn't really bothered by Romero. There was no pressure on him coming from behind him, really. He just knew that Romero was going to play Europa League and De Gea was always going to play Premier League games. So maybe the pressure from Hendo was after disturbing him a little bit more this season because the mistakes had a little bit more according with him, So it's interesting to see what happens.
Listen, it's not the end of the world for De Gea, but it's the end of this podcast, lads. So we're going to wrap it up there. I'm going to just answer the question to the trivia question that we posed earlier. So Manchester United played West Brom. It was Sir Alex Ferguson's last game as manager. That was 5-5, and 2 Dutch players scored. Who were they? Alex Butner and Robin van Persie.
Alex Butner, best left back in the world.
So listen, thanks for listening as usual, and that sums up our opinions. And thanks a million, Gary, for coming on. Gary's group is Manchester United Supporters Area, and that's a Facebook group, and you'll find it there. Gary, a lot's going on in your group. Do you want to give us a quick spiel about what's happening there?
Well, look, lads, it's a place to come, speak your mind. Sometimes it gets spoke too much. But look, it's a great place to have chats with like-minded fans, people that agree with your opinions and people that don't agree with your opinions. I when we went to create it, I brought in 3 more admins, from different parts of the country. I don't know them personally. I've never even met them face to face, and we've all got different opinions on it. So that it makes our group a little bit more diverse. You know, we have match day threads up where all the conversation happens. We do run competitions for retro jerseys, stuff like that. So, you know, there's 1,000 members nearly there. So we wouldn't mind a few more. So get on it. Manchester United Supporters Era on Facebook, private page, but you'll find it.
Great stuff.
We'll see you in there, Gary, anyway. And
Well, indeed.
And if you want to share your thoughts on our Facebook page, Instagram, or Twitter, you can find us at The Devil's Bit, and we will share your comments on this page. So join us next week for our 4th episode, and we'll be looking back at that week and what happened, and then we'll be looking ahead to that Newcastle game. So see you then.